Hello and welcome. You're watching News 9 Live. I'm Shweta Kothari. Here are the top stories we're tracking at this hour. Markets ended lower today with frontline Nifty 50 falling below 24,950 mark and the Sensex finishing lower amid a choppy trading session on Wednesday, with investors bracing for key US inflation data that would set the size of interest rate cuts in the world's largest economy this month. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Semicon India 2024 Summit. PM Modi makes a pitch to boost investments in domestic manufacturing of semiconductors. Said his dream is that every device in the world has a Make in India chip. Following a disappointing sales performance, Korean electronics giant Samsung Electronics to lay off 200 executives in its India business unit. The decision comes at a time when its workers in Samsung's Chennai factory are already on an indefinite strike, which has impacted production. And India's largest car maker, Maruti Suzuki, will roll out its first ever electric car in January next year. The mid-size electric SUV EVX will have a driving range of 500 kilometers on a single charge and will compete against likes of Tata Curve EV. And JSWMG Motors India launches its much-awaited mass-market electric car Windsor. The price for MG Windsor starts from 9.99 lakh rupees. Windsor is the first offering to be available under MG's new battery as a service program. Restoring trust in SEBI's operation is crucial to India and will likely require an independent investigation. The long-term impact of SEBI's credibility could influence both domestic and international confidence in India's regulatory environment, and India cannot afford to let that confidence be shaken by these allegations. To what extent are these charges damaging, and should SEBI chief resign? To talk about that, joining us on the show is Subhash Chandra Garg, former finance secretary. Also with us is Sandeep Goyal, professor of accounting and finance as well as corporate governance at Management Development Institute. Let me quickly come to you, Mr. Garg, first. I have let out a series of allegations here for our viewers, and these allegations, some of which continue to pour in day after day, begs the question, should SEBI chief resign?
See, the question of resignation flows from the fact that the institution of SEBI, a market regulator, should be in public perception be always held as someone above all controversies, where the board, the chief, the members of the SEBI are not, their integrity is not in doubt, their conduct is not in doubt, it's above suspicion and all. So those, unfortunately, that situation has arisen now. To my mind, there are two courses open to Ms. Buch. Number one, if she believes that all these allegations are wrong and she has done nothing which is not expected for a person of her stature and position, she should explain all the allegations, the fact about that, and also offer herself for any scrutiny by the independent people. But if she does not do that, and she believes that there are chinks in her armor, there are weaknesses in her case, she has acted improperly, I think it would be advisable for her to resign and go away and not allow the institution of SEBI to suffer. Now, while prima facie, many of the allegations seem to suggest very strongly that she has indulged in certain kind of misconduct, and therefore, as I said, either of these two courses, should be done.
Okay.
But if she
You know,
pays,
I want to
first.
sorry to cut you short, Mr. Garg. I want to quickly understand which of these allegations is the most serious to you, because you're saying that there looks like, there's been some form of corruption here, there's been some form of misgovernance here. Which of these allegations are most serious to you? To start with, Hindenburg allegations, there's been clarification both from SEBI as well as from Madhabi Puri Buch and her husband. Now, all the other allegations, as Ms. Buch and her husband may suggest, do not really warrant them to really come out in public and clarify. Which of these allegations to you are more serious?
Let's take the one which is the latest, the Agora Advisory. It's an undisputed fact that she owns 99% share in the Indian company, this Agora Advisory. This also is now a confirmed fact that it was not a dormant entity as she claimed earlier. This company continued to service clients. Her husband received payment through or worked for clients like Mahindra and Mahindra and others, you mentioned it. While you are working as the SEBI chief, and then you are operating a company which you own 99% and which receives payments of about 3 crore from the clients who are or from the companies which you are regulating, I think this is grossest instance of the misconduct. Likewise, if you want to take it, the fact that there was an investment relationship between her and her husband on one side and one of the Adani related offshore entity in which the investments were made. And these were not investments in listed entities or something. These are the investments made in an offshore entity. Now, what kind of these investments were? Did they make money on it? What kind of money they made on this? The fact itself of that investment continuing after she was a member is a serious misconduct to my mind.
You know, Mr. Garg, we don't have a representation from SEBI and we don't have a representation from Madhabi Puri Buch. So I'm going to play the devil's advocate because, there have been some clarifications that have come out in the past. So I want to ask a very direct question right now. You're talking about Agora Advisory. We know that Madhabi Puri Buch holds about 99% stake in that advisory group. However, she says that since resuming charge at SEBI, she has not been an active participant, whereas her husband, who is a member of the public, he does not really hold a public office, has all the right to render his services. So where's the problem in that?
No, I don't think she said this. She only public statement which I heard from her.
No, absolutely. She did not say this because she hasn't responded to the latest allegation. She only clarified on Hindenburg. But I'm asking this question, sir, since we don't have a representation on the other side. Her husband, who's a member of the public, should not be under question for, rendering his services as a consultant.
This is not the way it is. You are 99% owner. The profit of that company comes to you. You are a full-time member of the SEBI board and later a chairperson of that. You can't run any other business. You can't earn any profit from anywhere else. This is an impossible thing. This is an entirely impermissible thing. No justification can be offered for that firm to continue and she to own 99% and serve the clients which are regulated by him. I don't find even an iota of justification can be provided for this. This is absolutely clear.
But there has been a clarification which has come from Mahindra and Mahindra. There's been a clarification that's come from Dr. Reddy's and Pidilite, and they said that they hired Dhaval Buch and not Agora, Advisory. So that allegation may not be true entirely.
No, they hired Dhaval Buch in both the modes. They directly hired him and paid 4-5 crores of the fees to him. And they hired him through the Agora Advisory also and paid a little over 2 crores for that. So they hired under both the modes. The hiring through the Agora Advisory, which is owned 99% by her, is absolute misconduct. Even the other one, uh, I think the best course, the most appropriate course was for Dhaval Buch not to do any work for any entity which is regulated by the SEBI, where his wife is a chairperson or a member. Even if you do it, we don't know what kind of work was done.
Okay.
Why whether the compensation is proportionate to that? He seems to have also become a director of one of the Mahindra company. He was also advisor in some other international companies like Blackstone. We don't know at this stage whether he was doing many other actions.
Okay.
So whatever has come out doesn't leave Madhabi Buch in any sort of justifiable light.
All right, Mr. Garg, I think those are some serious allegations. They are also in direct violation of SEBI's code of conduct when it comes to conflict of interest, and obviously very, very damning for the sitting SEBI chairperson. We'll take a very short break, sir. We'll be back in just a bit. Welcome back. You're watching In Your Interest. I'm Shweta Kothari. In the show, in fact, we're talking about SEBI and the ongoing credibility crisis that SEBI is facing after a series of allegations have surfaced against Madhabi Puri Buch, the SEBI chairperson. Now, among the latest allegations that are Putting her credibility and her leadership in question are the accusations of conflict of interest concerning her advisory group giving consultancy services to prominent listed companies such as Mahindra and Mahindra, Pidilite, as well as Dr. Reddy's. We're talking about all the latest allegations, including the Hindenburg, and up until now, the allegations that have really put to question SEBI's chief's role and her conflict of interest position arising as a result of her consultancy firm, as well as her past dealings which have linked to Adani Group. To discuss all of that on the show with us, joining us is Sandeep Goyal. Continues to be with us is Subhash Chandra Garg. Sandeep Goyal, who's a professor of accounting and finance and corporate governance. Sir, I want to begin by asking, right before we went into break, we were having an intense discussion with former finance secretary, and we were talking about how some of these allegations are extremely serious and they put to question SEBI chief's position at stake. And most important of which is the allegation to have come out in past 24 hours, and that is with respect to the allegations on Agora Advisory, the consultancy firm run by Ms. Buch and her husband, where she holds about 99% of the stakes, and that seemed to have served some of the biggest clienteles in the country, publicly listed companies. In your assessment, sir, is that in violation of corporate governance laws? It's clearly in violation of SEBI Code of Conduct.
Well, ma'am, as you rightly said, it's all about corporate governance. And since I come from a corporate governance background, I would provide enough benefit of doubt to the devil unless it is proven guilty, number one. Number two, all accusations are always serious. All allegations are always serious unless it's proven true. And third, the outlier comes here is something which comes out as a very breaking factor is it is the same firm, Hindenburg, which has put an allegation and came out and created a chaos and a havoc against Adani Group. And none of them have proven to be correct as a part of business application. So unless you come out
also
and
put to question, sir, because the final authority to have investigated was SEBI, and Hindenburg has alleged that the SEBI chiefs seem to have some conflict of interest there with same companies being invested in by both Adani Group as well as SEBI chief and her husband.
Yeah, fine. I mean, that something does create a line of conflict, but it does not again prove in terms of reality, because when you talk about SEBI coming out and proving those allegations, or rather opposing those allegations, is an independent body within SEBI, not headed by Ms. Puri as a part of business forces. So that actually creates a huge difference in terms of who is inspecting it and who is not. So it's not Ms. Puri inspecting herself as a part of those forces application. It's an independent body within SEBI, and this is where it is empowered and it is very much regulated, and without any conflict of interest, what you put it in as a business force.
Okay, understood. So understood. You're suggesting that as far as allegations of Madhabi Puri Buch having conflict of interest in Adani investigation is concerned, may not stand merit, because it wasn't just her who was investigating Adani Group, but it was a whole lot of people sitting in SEBI. But what about other allegations that have come to light? And I want to focus clearly on the latest and most damaging allegation that has come out in form of that Agora Advisory, the consultancy firm run by Madhabi Puri Buch, which seems to have a clientele of companies which are listed. Now, various rules will tell you, as far as ethics goes, as well as a code of conduct, that all people who are serving on board of a company, or at least on board of advisory groups, or in this case regulator, must stay away from market participants. Now, you have a market participant whom you are giving services to on the sidelines, but also governing them as part of a regulatory body.
So I'll start with all the allegations one by one, especially, allegation which has been a major force of this Agora firm, which has been put in under consideration, because this is something which comes out as an allegation again on paper, that she is serving on the board and being public listed firms. And the whole idea of bottom line is, I repeat and reiterate, that one, it has not been proven in practice. Second, when you talk about in terms of board roles and applications, they have not been there on those forces in terms of the real empowerment. And third, which comes out as a business case of real corporate governance, is that there is a line of unethical conduct which might be there. But again, the idea is, unless you come out and prove with validations, documentations, certifications, do you have enough evidences against her? So I'm not
No, but
somebody
whose
who
job
is
is
defending
it
her.
to, sir, whose job is it to prove, Mr. Goyal, whose job is it to prove it now?
So this is where SFIU has to come into place. We have a body called a Serious Fraud Investigation Office, which is an independent body under Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So why not empower them? Because SEBI is an autonomous body as a regulatory mechanism. But when we talk about corporate governance of frauds, why not put in SFIO in place and empower them to come out and inspect this application for the entire allegations put in against Puri?
Okay. So in which case, I'd like to bring in Mr. Garg back into this conversation. Mr. Garg, you heard Sandeep Goyal there saying that SFIO should be empowered to investigate whether there were any financial misdoings. Before I let you go, I have one clear, direct question to put to you, and that is with regards to all the mounting allegations, do you think Madhabi Puri Buch is now morally incumbent to resign from a public post, given that there are serious charges of malfeasance in public post, or should one wait for allegations to finally come into fruition, whether to be proven or to be, disregarded completely on basis of an investigation which is fair and thorough before we ask for her to resign? Because, as it goes, one person is only guilty once proven. Until then, she's not guilty. These are just allegations.
So, to be very fair to the person concerned, any allegation made has to be investigated and proven. That is the way it should be. But the difficulty in the current case is that you are holding a position which is a position of trust, integrity, independence. Now, the critical question then comes that pending investigation, should you continue to hold that position when your character, your conduct has been assailed? So the two things which need to be done to my mind immediately is, considering that prima facie there are serious allegations. These are not, you can't dismiss it out of hand that these are wayward or vague kind of suggestions. So an independent agency, SFIO is a very difficult. If SFIO investigation is ordered by the government in this case, this would amount to a very serious indictment of the chairperson right now.
Okay.
So I don't think SFIO, but an independent investigation. And
All right.
pending that investigation, it would be fair that if she steps aside, considering the nature of the allegation.
All right, Mr. Garg, Sandeep Goyal, thank you very much for taking time out, gentlemen, for joining us on the show. But there is a growing clamour here, of course, of voices asking for SEBI Chief Madhabi Puri Buch to step down, given that the seriousness of allegations in the past 24 hours has taken a more serious turn, come to think of it, with latest allegation, of course, raising questions on her conduct as a person in public office. Will she resign? Won't she? Well, of course, I have to keep an eye out for that. But that's all we have in the show. Thank you very much for watching.